motherfucker. Money be green. Money feel like money. That shit look green to you?
Also follow us on our social media channels, and remember to hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content. We're going to go to the co-feature, and this one should be the main event. Let's be serious here. It's for Undisputed at 105. Seniesa Estrada is a minus 190 straight up on the money line, and Yokasta Valle is a plus 156. If you're looking at other channels and they're calling her valet, just don't even watch that. Watch this, because they got the name wrong too. These are two women that they deserve to be the main event. I think this one is going to be an absolute banger, Bryan. You cannot go wrong. Seniesa Estrada and Yokasta Valle, and Bryan and I were talking about this on WhatsApp. That talk that Top Rank put out, Seniesa Estrada, I think she made herself look bad.
Dog.
Right? Like
bad, kind of arrogant. I don't like saying this about athletes or really people in general. And Seniesa Estrada, I have a lot of respect for her ability. Like, you know, this is an amazing boxer, but at the same time, like, it's just, I did not like how, and people in the comments were saying the same thing. Like, I was just curious. Like, I don't pay attention to comments in terms of like, I need to know what everybody's thinking. This is one of those examples where like, I needed to know what people were seeing. Because are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? And it was basically the same thing. They're like, man, I hope Yokasta Valle beats her. You know, she needs to humble her. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll talk about it. But man, Seniesa, you know, little playing with fire there is what I'll say.
I just didn't think it was believable, because Yokasta the whole time is like, first off, Yokasta's not even speaking English, and Senesa's on the other side talking all this smack. She doesn't need to, but she says it's a little bit personal because her old trainer is Yokasta's trainer now. And then obviously like the Golden Boy, the beef there and whatnot. She said that she wanted to fight Yokasta before. Yokasta ducked her, but Yokasta was like, listen, like, you didn't have the belt then. Like, why was I going to fight you? Yokasta just held herself to a different standard, and it was hard to not like her even more. And it was weird because if you watch that video, and I tell you, please do. Please go watch it, because you're going to have a different outlook.
It's worth it. Yes.
No, it's so worth it, because the whole time Yokasta is like calm, cool, and collected, and Senesa's just like going at her for no reason. She comes off really bad. And for me, it's not believable, because I think Seniesa, all in all, she's very likable. She's very marketable. And I think Top Rank knows that. And for me, it just came off looking bad for her. Like, I love it when boxers are brash and they talk smack. like, that's one of my favorite things about boxers. Didn't look good for Seniesa. And it kind of changed who I want to win for this fight in my heart. in my heart, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, but in my heart, I'm going a different way. So Bryan, I know you want to say something, because we've been doing a show for a little while.
I want to point this out though. I want to point this out also, because you've been consistent about this. You also said that you like shit talking. I do as well. You also like it when it's believable. With like Devin Haney, for example, you said that he was getting out of character for.
He's a nice guy. He's a nice young man. I can tell. I can tell he's a nice young man. I do not buy it. You know what I mean?
This
Even
is for
now,
the Lomachenko fight. We were talking about this last year. Where, you know, as heated as it was getting, you were like, Devin Haney's not like, he's not really like this, was your kind of point. I don't know one way or the other. It felt a little out of character, but I mean, listen, she's a boxer at the end of the day, and boxers are intense on a different level. It kind of felt like the comparison to me was, did it feel pre Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos to me?
100%. We should be calling her Lil Tio at this point.
I'm worried. Because listen, when you get over emotional in that ring, you can fight out of character. Seniesa Estrada already, I mean, she says her defense is better than Yokasta Valle. That might be true. We haven't seen that the last couple of fights. We definitely didn't see that last fight. She got hit a lot. And one thing you do when you fight overly emotional is you're kind of 90% offense, 10% defense. Teofimo Lopez, he, you know, because of the emotion he had against George Kambosos, didn't really have a game plan, lost the fight because of it. And I thought it was just a dumb fight from start to finish for him in terms of like strategizing, fighting with his emotions. If Seniesa Estrada walks down that same trap, she could be in trouble against Yokasta Valle.
The only difference with Seniesa and Teo is, like, I think Teo really believed what he was saying.
Okay,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
sure,
Like,
sure.
that's Teofimo Lopez. But I just don't believe Seniesa's like that. Like, I haven't talked to her personally, but I've been around her during fights. I know you have too. You know what I mean? Just by like seating areas, and she just seems really nice. So I didn't buy it, and I was like, whoa. Like, what side of the bed did she wake up on today? Like, did she just have an attitude? Sometimes as women, we just have attitude for no goddamn reason. And that was one of the times where I'm like, Seniesa, like, you need to chill. You've been way too extra. I don't know what I was like, that came from out of left field. You know what I mean? And it was so disrespectful. And she even started dissing a country in Costa Rica.
Yeah,
Like, it was
she's
beyond being like talking that smack. It was disrespectful, and I don't think it came off really well.
Yokasta just ate it too. Senisa's like, I'm stronger than you, I'm faster than you, my defense is better, my this, and that. And I was like, it was like a little bit of a bad omen. But in terms of predictions for this fight, we'll
Okay,
get
yeah.
into this. Seniesa
The
Estrada,
story's too good, so we had to set it up for you. But go ahead,
yeah,
Brian.
people need to watch it. And shout out to Cynthia Poncher also, who moderated it, asked the questions, and I thought she did a good job as well.
Wonderful job, yeah.
Seniesa Estrada minus 190, Yokasta Valle plus 156. I want to tell people that I want to say last week or the week before, just recently, Seniesa Estrada was as low as like minus 130, minus 135. I think this may have opened at even money both ways just to get action on both sides. And obviously, the actions come in on Seniesa Estrada for reasons that I'm about to lay out. One, this is in America. Immediate disadvantage for Yokasta Valle. Two, one of the other interesting things from the Talk That Talk sort of face to face that they had was Seniesa Estrada revealing that Yokasta Valle is on the last fight of her Golden Boy contract, which I was like, oh, that's very interesting in terms of how I think this could potentially be judged. And Chantel, I've told you this. One of my rules in betting on this sport is if you're going to bet an underdog, you need to bet on them with knockout power. Not to say that the underdog has to get a knockout to win, but it's hard for the underdog to win when they need to win by decision. And in women's boxing, unfortunately, in this fight in particular and other fights, this is a 20-minute fight, 10 2-minute rounds as opposed to 12 3-minute rounds. I think that if we got 12 rounds, 3-minute rounds, we would see a lot more knockouts in women's boxing because it's just math, right? It's not like a power thing. It's really just like you have more time to do it. And you would see Clarissa Shields, who's somebody who has like 2 knockouts in her career. She'd probably have like 5, 6, 7 accumulation, stoppage, punishing sort of knockouts toward the end of a fight. Seniesa Estrada and Yokasta Valle have 9 knockouts each. They would both be well into double digits if we just had longer fights. If dudes were fighting 10 2-minute rounds, we wouldn't get as many knockouts in dudes boxing. Like that's just really how I think this goes. So you got to factor that in when betting on these fights. We saw this with Michaela Mayer and Natasha Jonas going into somebody's hometown and winning by decision when it's close is very, very hard. And because I think this is going to be a close fight, and as much as I think Yokasta Valle could win this fight because she's good enough to do it, I think in a close fight, she's going to get robbed. I think in a close fight, it's going to go to Seniesa Estrada. And I think for Yokasta Valle to win this fight, she needs to win convincingly like 7, 8 rounds to get 6, maybe even to get a draw. And I just think that Seniesa Estrada at the same time of all this is too good for, her to get wiped out like that. And is also going to be too busy because I think she's going to overwhelm her with volume to just get the short end of the stick like that. And then also this is America and we know who the A side is. We know who Top Rank and ESPN are pushing. So all those sort of factors, I've leaned Seniesa Estrada by decision, which I found at minus 135. I think Yokasta Valle could win this fight. I think if this fight were at a neutral site, if it were in Costa Rica, obviously Yokasta Valle would have the advantage. But, her being on the last fight of her Golden Boy deal, this being a unification that's going to be on ESPN, not Golden Boy, this going to be a top ranked production, Seniesa Estrada being the A side, this being in America, all those different factors. I just think that, and we saw this with Seniesa Estrada's last fight. Some people thought that she should have lost. Some people thought that it should have been a draw. The punch stats were very close. 97-93 all 3 ways. So I think this fight's going to be similar where it should feel like a 50-50 fight. It should feel very close, but I think Seniesa is going to get the decision favorably.
Yeah, this is for Undisputed, remember, for 105. And to me, this is a 50-50 fight. Will it be a 50-50 fight on the scorecards? No. because Bryan set that up perfectly for me to. You set up the alley oop. I'm going to dunk it right now. Yokasta Valle has to win distinctively every round, right? And already these are 2-minute rounds, which I absolutely hate. And against Seniesa Estrada, like I mentioned, Tom Frank loves her. Very marketable. She's the future star. They can market the hell out of Seniesa Estrada. And the way Senesa's talking that talk, she thinks she's going to be an absolute superstar, right? And for Yokasta to win, listen, Yokasta's a great fighter. I think styles make fights, and this is one of those fights that's going to be an absolute banger. And I think Senesa's going to get hit a lot. She talked about how her defense is better, how her speed is better, how her power is better. I do think Seniesa Estrada has all those attributes, but we haven't seen that power. You're 105. You're not knocking out a lot of people at 105, Seniesa, right? So it's one of those things where it's like Yokasta is extremely tough, and she's an aggressive fighter as well. She likes to come forward. So this is going to be an absolute banger. I do think it comes down to volume. And if I am someone like Yokasta Valle, I'm going to be coming forward. I'm going to be trying to cut off the ring. I'm going to be taking major hits because that's the way you would have to beat her, right? You have to make it a brawl against Seniesa, because these two girls are going to be coming at it. But when it comes to the scorecards, because Top Rank is the one promoting this fight, because it's in America, because it's a co-feature, because it's for Undisputed, I think it's going to be 6-4 Seniesa.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
It's going to be close. Like, we're going to be watching it at home, and we're going to be like, Yokasta got that round. It's so close. Yokasta got that round. And then the scorecards are going to come out, and it's going to be like, by unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Here's Seniesa Estrada. That's what's going to happen. And, I'm not to say that Senesa's not going to win this fight distinctively. We never know how she's going to come out. She's had a longer layoff, though. Yokasta's been busier in the ring. Is there going to be any rust? Because the last time we saw Seniesa, and I'm a fan of Seniesa, I wasn't very impressed. I didn't think it was her best fight. So to be fighting someone like Yokasta Valle in an undisputed bout, and you haven't been in the ring for 8 months, I think there's going to be a little bit of rust. And if I'm Yokasta, I'm going at it right away. Like, you got to get it right away. But I just don't think that the judges are going to give it to Yokasta. I think she's going to get robbed. And a lot of people thought she got robbed in Japan. And some people thought she got robbed in Germany, which are her 2 losses. I think it might possibly happen again. But I think Seniesa Estrada, I think she does win by decision. I don't think there's going to be a knockout in this one. Minus 135. You can make a parlay if you wanted to, because obviously those odds aren't going to win you a lot of bread. But my heart wants Valle to win, because Seniesa she just rubbed me the wrong way in that video. So I might just sprinkle, Bryan. I'm going to sprinkle on Yokasta because my heart says I want to. What's $10 on Valle at plus 156? $5, $1. I don't care. I would like Valle to win. And initially, like when I heard this fight was going to go down, I was like, yo, I'm rocking with Valle because I like her fight style. But just because of everything that's involved in the marketing aspect and how boxing is boxing, got to go with Seniesa by decision. Any final thoughts before we move away from this?
Yeah, this to me, I want to reiterate this point, especially. This is a fight of the year candidate for me. Like, there's no better fight this weekend than this one. None of the high profile fights, none of the undercard fights. This is the best fight this weekend. This to me is the most excited I've been about a fight in a while, probably since Joshua Ngannou, which was earlier this month. But like, I'm more excited about this from a purity standpoint, because I felt like Anthony Joshua was going to decapitate Francis Ngannou, which did happen. But this is, to me, one of the fights of the year so far. I've been looking forward to this for a while, and I think that I just hope that Yokasta Valle gets a fair shake. Like, I hope that if the fight is a draw, that the fight is scored a draw. If she wins 6-7 rounds, I hope that the judges reflect that scoring. It's tough for me to see that, because this is essentially in Senesa's backyard. That's another thing that she mentioned in the That Talk thing, which we're plugging the hell out of. But she was just kind of like, I would like, Yokasta was like, after this, we should do a rematch in Costa Rica. And she's like, I ain't going to Costa Rica. Like, fuck out of here. Like, that's basically what she's saying. And I'm like, yo, like, I've seen Yokasta Valle's fights in Costa Rica.
It's crazy, dude. She packs out. Yeah.
Listen, she packs out basketball arenas. You know what I mean? Like, she says she packs out stadiums.
She's that
Like,
chick for real. Like Yokasta is that one. And also she has a lot of respect in LA as well. Like I know that Senesa's from East LA. Yokasta trains out in Boyle Heights. Like she does
wild
train out in
card,
Boyle
right?
Heights.
Wild
Yeah.
card, yeah. So
So it's just like she's gonna have some East LA supporters as well. Obviously Senesa will be the favorite, but go watch that video because you might not go for Seniesa after, but let her fall into that villain role. Sometimes that works, right? Here at the Mandatory, we want to know how you're going to be betting this fight. Drop your comments below, drop your slips, and also let us know what you thought if you did watch that back and forth between Yokasta and Seniesa Estrada. By the way, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button, and also follow us on our social media channels.